Howdy, I'm Joe Moonjail. I recently got an ad for something called the Freewrite. It's essentially a kind of portable computer that's only good for word processing. It has this nice little e-ink screen, and I thought that was a pretty nice idea until I saw that it cost $500, and I got to thinking to myself, haven't I seen this before? And the answer is yes! This is the Alphasmart Pro. It's 27 years old and it does the same shit. I'm gonna open it up and see what's in it. All right, so bear with me while I'm getting this thing open. I just want to provide a little context. It turns out that there are actually 3 of the Freewrite devices that I was talking about. One is the smart typewriter, which is probably the functional equivalent of this thing. It's kind of a folding, lightweight device, and then they've got a smart typewriter, which isn't folding. It's got kind of an aluminum body, nice mechanical keyboard on that, and that's pretty nice. And then there's a Hemingway edition as an earnest of the smart typewriter. And I'm actually not here to bag on those, you know? I think $500 entry to up to $1,000 for the smart typewriter is probably a little steep, but I think they're perfectly serviceable as what they are, which is fashion items. And actually what they've done, they're sort of cornering this smart typewriter market. Looks like I might have some screws under these feet. No. Okay. Oh, I've got 2 more up top. They bought Alphasmart, which was defunct in the mid-2000s. They've bought the website, and if you go to the website, they're trying to hawk a quote-unquote updated version of one of these things. Now, I was a child in the early 2000s. The Alphasmart Pro, which is what I've got here, was released in 1995. And there were still some of these lurking around in my public elementary school when I was a kid in the early aughts. So, all right, good, we've got that off. So I remember using these. My sister remembers using these. And this one was actually used in a public elementary school. You might be able to see some of the school district tagging on it, and I got it for 15 bucks in shipping on eBay. And as soon as I crack it open, we'll kind of explore the insides of it a little bit, and we'll talk a little more about the functionality. All right, let's check out the least interesting part first, I guess, and the one that I'm going to have to worry about the most, which is the LCD screen. It looks like it's just got an array of drivers on the back here. I'm gonna have to do some poking around on these ICs. They all have similar form factors, but we have 2 different. These first 2 are a different make than the rest, so I'm gonna have to do some exploring there. Pretty bog standard. I have some dead pixels on this thing. Nothing really egregious, just on one of the columns toward the right of it, several of the arrays. That. And then in here is where the meat is. Let me make sure my framing is good. So we've got 2 PS2 outputs, one for Mac, one for Windows. I don't know exactly how those differ. And the reason for that is that you can type on this thing, you can do your word processing on it, and then plug it into a PS2 port, and it'll save your files by way of keyboard emulation. You plug it in through one of these ports, open up Word, it'll dump all of the text you've got in your file as though it's being written into Word, and then you just save that Word file. So that's pretty slick. I would be completely guessing at what the rest of these ICs are. We've got some kind of a Motorola processor here. I'm guessing this is the ROM. Battery terminals look a little bit corroded. I might want to poke around with those. Power circuitry is over here, and then this is just the out from the keyboard. I'm guessing this can emulate a keyboard in real time too. I do want to crack these open. Some of these keys are getting stuck down. It's pretty mushy. I'm guessing it's a membrane keyboard. Do I want to pull on these? You can see that one is pretty sticky. I'm going to get in underneath it and see what I see. I'm guessing it's probably not going to be anything too interesting. Okay, yeah, the keyboard is kind of a sealed package, so nothing too interesting under there. We did get a few of these. These are 574s, so this is, I guess, a D... I'm guessing, I think D flip-flop, same here. 573, I think, is a D latch. I'm a little surprised that the manufacturers are different on those, I guess, but that's not too extraordinary. But, you know, they want you to know they hope all your dreams come true, so that was worth taking a look. Oh, and then the other thing I noticed was just like a little bit of discoloration up on that coin battery there. which corresponds pretty well to the location of this one corroded screw I pulled out of the case. So I'm gonna have to yank those out. But don't worry, I've already pulled the one story that was saved on this thing out, so we're not gonna lose anything for that. Okay, she's put back together, batteries in. The first time I booted it up, it did a cool little power on self check. It checked for a signature and went through the RAM, and I wish I would have caught that on camera, but I didn't, so oh well. And it's working. You know, nobody bag on my typing style too bad, but we can put some words on the page if we want to. Maybe you can see this, maybe you can't. I'll bring it a little bit closer. You can see that right there where I put page. We've got some dead pixels. But I'm gonna see, can I Command A? No. All right. So we'll type a little bit more so I can belabor a point. Okay, so I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see this. Maybe set it up like that. You can see that when I put text down, yeah, in this particular column on those first two rows, we have some dead pixels. Although what's curious to me is the blinking cursor manages to light them all up, but the lowercase letter B there, if you look on the left side of that pixel matrix, the cursor lights up the whole left column, but the lowercase letter B can't. So that's weird. Maybe we do have, I don't know, maybe we have a logic issue. I'm not totally sure. But you can see that as the text kind of scrolls down the page, you're going to be able to read everything at one point or another. It'll be in a valid column, and it's something to cope with. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. The sort of unfortunate thing is that these Hyundai HC4041 LCD panels are still floating around out there. They exist, but they cost $125 is the cheapest I've been able to find. Maybe somebody else knows where to get one for cheaper. I'm not too interested in flitzing around with all the different drivers on there, only to find out, you know, maybe it's the polarizer itself, or, you know, I don't know. So I'm probably just going to cope with those dead pixels for now. And that's not too big of a deal. I mean, the fact that it's a scrolling display with 4 lines means anything that's bugging you on that you really can't read on one line is going to move and be off your screen in a couple of minutes. So it's not that deal breaking. I'm going to slap this thing back together and mess with it a little more. You know, I bought the oldest and cheapest one of these things I could find to make a point. There is a newer Alphasmart called the Neo that people really seem to like. There seems to be kind of a cult around those. And I didn't bother getting one of those because I wanted to make the point that this functionality is as old as 1995. And in fact, even earlier, there are some, I'm sure, old Tandy or Sinclair, I mean, I've seen about 1 million of them, even though I can't name them, portable word processors that have been banging around since the 70s. So what Freewrite has on offer isn't really anything new. Like I said, it's a fashion item. I guess you could make the argument that the cloud synchronization is nice, although if their selling point is that you're sort of doing the word processing offline and free of distractions, but you have access to Wi-Fi, I'm not sure how compelling that particular point is. And you can make the point that the e-paper is maybe a little bit more comfortable to look at, but the LCD still isn't a backlit screen. I actually kind of prefer the look of a monochrome LCD, but that's just me. So you can make those points. You can make those arguments that it's a functional tool. Really what I think it is a fashionized version of technology that's been around forever and ever and ever and has been ubiquitously used and that we've sort of just forgotten. I'm probably going to leave this particular one the way it is, although I might venture as far as to make a little hack so the PS2 output spits out to an Arduino with some kind of wireless hat on it, and we can beam that to the cloud just so I can say nominally that you can make a Freewrite for $30 or whatever, but I'm not that interested in it. I like having this thing. I might actually use it to take some lecture notes. So yeah, that's it. That's the complete thought on that, you know? It's fun. It's an Alphasmart. Bye. Oh, hi. Well, another thing. What I wanted to do before I hung up was kind of take a It's not really a shop tour because it's just the garage that I rent, but I wanted to show it the way that it is now, which is as after, well, let me show it and then I'll explain. So this is the garage that I rent, my de facto workshop, after several dozen hours of cleaning and trying to get it serviceable as a workshop. It was pretty dilapidated when I moved in here, and I had a roommate for about a year who, you know, just due to the situation, we were storing a bunch of stuff in here, but now it could be a workshop. So what I think I want to do is I want to take this clip and sit on it for a while. And then once I've put a few dozen hours more into making this place nice and workable, do some A/B and see how we like it. So here's my little personal entertainment setup for when the inspiration is lacking. TV antenna. This is a Voxlab Aquila, which is a knockoff of the Ender 3. And it works really, really well for what I do, and which is mostly like project box stuff and little, you know, I used to do outreach education, so I would make sort of, you know, little figures for the kids to set on their desks. And that was nice. Somebody was nice enough to give me a server cabinet power strip, so that's cool. Vacuum full of bugs, because man, does this place get beetles like you've never seen. Got some ICs, some extra stuff from a 6502 project I'm working on in another location. So we have some, what are we looking at here? I'm looking at it through the camera, which is the stupidest thing I could do. Okay. Got some memory. There's the actual, is this the actual 6502? No. Where is it? There's my baby. Xbox that I have to pull the timing capacitor out of. I also kind of want to put an SSD in it, which means doing the whole pack. It'll be a while, but I kind of want to do it. And a whole lot of shelves. Drills, light bulbs, films. Films.